Hey, what's going on YouTube? So today I'm going to showcase my Endgame Magicka Dragonknight build for the Scribes of Fate DLC patch. This build is capable of pulling over 120k on the parse dummy and is viable for most group content. As with all endgame builds, it will be a group focused build that revolves around using trial, best in slot, or mythic gear, so it is not a super beginner friendly or a solo build. Please keep in mind that these builds should be used as a template and altered depending on your situation or to your liking. And with that being said, here we go. So starting off in the character sheet, I have 64 points in a Magicka, and I'm running the Thief Mundus. For the build, I recommend High Elf over Dark Elf. I am a Dark Elf for this build, but High Elf should offer a little bit more sustain. For the food, we have a couple different options. Clockwork Citrus Fillet is probably going to be your best in slot, while Witch Mother's Potent Brew is going to offer pretty much the same benefits, but at a cheaper cost. For parsing, Ghastly Eyeball is always the go-to, but for this parse I use green food, which is just standard CP 150 max mag green food. So for the potions, we opted to use Hero Zone potions because we have access to major sorcery and major prophecy, but you can also run tri-stat potions as well. It's going to be a little bit cheaper, but you'll lose a little bit of DPS. Regardless of which you choose, make sure you have 3 points from the medicinal use skill from the alchemy skill line to benefit from the full duration of the potion. For CP for the blue tree, we're going to be running Exploiter, Deadly Aim, Thaumaturge, and Wrathful Strikes. For Exploiter, if you don't have access to Off Balance or you need more crit damage, you can swap this out for Fighting Finesse or Backstabber. For the red CP, Celerity, this is our flex spot, and then Rejuvenation, Fortified, and Balanced Vitality. So for the gear, we're going to be running 5 pieces of Venomous Smite on the back bar, 5 pieces of Reliquant on the front bar, Zons, and Kilt. So breaking it down in the main hand, we have a Venomous Dagger, Nirnhoned with flame damage enchant. In the offhand, a Reliquant Dagger charged with a poison damage enchant. For the back bar, a Venomous Greatsword infused with a weapon damage enchant. For the head and shoulders, we have 2 pieces of Zon, both in light, traded in divines with max mag enchant. For 4 pieces of the body, we have Reliquant, all traded in divines with max mag enchants. And for the leg slot, we have a Harpooner's Waiting Kilt. This is in divines with a max mag enchant as well. And lastly, for the jewelry, we have 3 pieces of Venomous Smite. All 3 are going to be traded in Bloodthirsty with weapon and spell damage enchants. So just very quickly for skills, we're running Burning Talons. This is a decent dot and offers a synergy. Very good for AoE. Molten Whip are spammable, and then has that little perk of when you use an Ardent Flame ability, you can get 100 weapon and spell damage for 15 seconds and stacks up to 3 times. Venomous Claw, a ramping up damage dot. Don't recast this early. Flames of Oblivion, this is for the damage it does, and on top of that gives you major prophecy and savagery. Barb Trap for the minor force to proc hemorrhaging and also does pretty good damage as well. Flawless Dawnbreaker, mostly for the passives. You can use this if you do need resources and you don't have enough for standard. Stampede, this is a guaranteed crit damage, which is going to proc our Venomous Smite. Furthermore, it does good damage. Carve, standard 2-hander dot. Just make sure you don't lose the stacks on it. Eruption, another dot. Also, don't recast this early before 10 seconds has passed because you're not going to get the initial damage. Degen, this is for our major brutality and sorcery. And Camo Hunter, because we don't have major prophecy or savagery on the back bar. And lastly, our Standard of Might. This is our go-to ultimate. It increases all of our damage done and just a really strong ult. Or the rotation, we're going to be running a dynamic rotation, meaning we're going to keep up skills as they fall off. Our priority is going to be Carve, Stampede, Degen, Barb Trap, Venomous Claw, Flames of Oblivion, and Eruption. As far as Burning Talons is concerned, try to cast it every 4th or 5th skill and keep it up. Our spammable is going to be Molten Whip, and we have Camo Hunter on the back bar for the slotted passive of Major Savagery and Prophecy. Dawnbreaker, just slotted for the Fighter's Guild passive, and your ultimate that you're going to use is Standard of Might. Try to time it when all of your dots are down so you can do more spammables. And lastly, if you're using Venomous Smite, try to proc it with Stampede so that every time Stampede goes off of cooldown, you're going to be able to proc your Venomous Smite, meaning you'll have a really good uptime on your back bar set. So for closing thoughts, the reason why we're running Pillar instead of Venomous Smite on the back bar was because I was having an easier time with keeping Venomous Smite up because it lines perfectly with the cooldown for Stampede. Furthermore, Stampede is a guaranteed crit, so it would always proc whenever Stampede expired and I needed to recast it. But if you are able to keep up pillar, especially really close to the cooldown, it will probably net you a bit more DPS. And as per usual, just some very quick gear alternatives. If you want to go light armor and not worry about penetration, then you can run something like Whirl of Depths, Bosse, or even Sororia. For alternatives for medium armor, you can go something like Aegis Collar or Coral Riptide, depending on which route you want to go. Berserking Warrior is still a good set. You would have to run it on weapon and jewelry though. And as I mentioned earlier, pillar probably a little bit better than Venomous Smite, but a little bit harder to use. And as always, a budget build would be something like Order's Wrath and Julianos. That wraps up the build explanation section of this portion. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them in the comment section down below, or better yet, come join our Discord. Link is in the description. I will have a written guide attached in the description for those who would prefer that. And as always, thank you to my YouTube members. If you want to help me support my content creation, please consider becoming a member. And as always, thanks again, and see you in the next one.